Print that tape.
Dr. Beverly Crusher gives great advice when she's not around. Worf considered sending the heads of slaughtered enemies to his pals. And apparently, Riker is good in bed and bad at pizza. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
Malissa Longo is also here.
Hi.
Yay.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 8, entitled Surrender, written by Matt Okamura and directed by Deborah Kampmeyer. Today we're going to figure out who in the live chat is good in bed and who is bad at pizza and who is both. How you guys doing?
It's like that
good.
game.
What game?
Oh, like the MASH game where you do this? Yeah. Oh, Mary Kill. I thought you meant this one where you're like
Mary Kill.
Mansion, Jack.
That too. Those were fun too.
All right. Well, let's talk about this awesome episode that was written by Matt Okamura and directed by Deborah Kampmeyer. There was a little bit of confusion there initially, but we got it squared away. Mm-hmm. This was amazing. I didn't catch really any like Easter eggs or references. It feels like they had like specific episodes that were made that had like a ton of Easter eggs and references, and other episodes that were just straight, just their own thing. And this was definitely one of those. What'd you guys think of it?
I mean, there were some of them with data that I haven't really, that I don't know because I haven't seen some of those episodes yet. But I know that they were, Easter eggs for his experience, his backstory. Mm-hmm. But I just think this episode and this season is just amazing, and it's on the along the lines of the other really great episodes this season. Mainly because I think seeing the cast get back together is fun. Mm-hmm. It's really exciting to watch them back at their different roles, and I think Troy was able to meet a couple of people we saw for the first time, which she was excited. She said Data, and
Worf. Oh my gosh.
Worf
was what was Worf's damn problem?
Amazing.
He's like, I have thought of you often. I dream of you and see you in my mind, or whatever he was saying.
And then Riker.
And Troy says, that's very sweet. He's like, and Riker goes, inappropriate, Worf.
No, but then Riker says, is this a rescue mission or another form of torture?
Yes.
Like,
that was the best.
That's so good.
Melissa, were you shipping them hard? Were you like, Worf, steal Troy from Riker? They're having problems.
No, not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I loved the opening scene with Deanna and Riker because they felt like two people that had spent so much time together and had gone through hell and back together. And then
season 1 of Next Generation.
Bond. That bond is still really strong, even when they're struggling. It's really strong, and the way that Deanna looks at Riker is just so moving, and vice versa. The way Riker looks at Troy is, their connection is strong, and you stole a lot of my lines in the the beginning.
Yeah. I love the scene with Riker and Troy. I thought that was really good, intimate wordplay between the two of them. The kind of, the back and forth that they had when they were talking about, for example, not liking the house. And she says, it feels like it was designed by a cabal of retro prairie hipsters. And I just like the dialogue, and they mentioned the red-winged banshees and two-headed woodpeckers. when she says, I miss Frappuccino lattes, and I miss people, it kind of really hit home for me as far as, two people kind of accepting a life that they want to move on from, and they haven't told each other that they would like to, that they're not happy anymore in the place that they're at. And sometimes you have to make an evaluation and assess those things in life and say, is this really working for me? Is this really what I want? Is this where I want to be? And I felt like that was an honest kind of insight into this couple's revelation that, that they've been going through a lot and that they need some kind of change, actual physical change in how they attack their relationship.
It just kind of hit me like, is Deanna, it seems weird that Deanna Troi is a city girl, because like if you're an empath and you're constantly hearing and feeling people's emotions, I feel like that would be overwhelming. If you're like in an apartment complex with like 400 other emotions bombarding you constantly when you're trying to sleep, I feel like if I was, if I were her, I would love to just go out on the countryside and just take a break from everybody's worries and stresses and feelings and emotions. But so I was a little surprised to hear her say she's a country girl, and Riker too. I thought they were very happy in Nepenthe. Yeah, a city girl, right?
Yeah, but having dealt with the loss of their son, I can see how the overwhelming grief that Riker is experiencing could overwhelm her too. And so they're existing in grief together, and the city might provide some outside distraction from all of the difficult feelings that they're trying to deal with from losing their kid.
I agree. And this was a big episode for Marina Sirtis, and I think she did a great job of bringing her A game to the table. The moments that she had with Jack Crusher at the end, I thought were genuine as well. I felt that she has matured in this character, and you can feel it. That she's, even more in tune with the people around her, and just, I just enjoyed watching her in this episode. I thought she was really exceptional. When she said to Riker, "Stop being so dramatic," and kind of acting all hurt in the beginning.
I'm like, is that Marina or is that Deanna there? Because that's
it's a little bit of ease.
Yeah, there's some Marina peppered in there.
A little bit, yeah.
I also like Riker in that moment too. When he started going with, like, when he says, "Yeah, I thought I'd hit you with the old Riker charm," I thought that was cute. It was, he said, "Let me just take a couple more shots," and then she says, "Oh, you clearly are concussed." I thought that was a great delivery, great line, just really good scene between the two of them. And these guys are professionals, and I just felt the chemistry there. I felt that they cared for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was a moment when she really leaned it. I think they were kind of saying this is the last of something. This is the end, or this is the last day. I don't remember what it was, but they were saying something about finality, and the way she looked at him, I was like, wow, that feels genuine. That feels real. Sometimes writers can write a scene for actors to actually say what they mean as people, not as characters. And sometimes, a lot of times they'll do it in a final episode or something like that, And in that moment, it really did feel like, I agree, it felt like Marina Sirtis was looking at Jonathan Frakes, and the love in Marina's eyes for Jonathan was there. And Deanna Troi and Commander Riker, or Captain Riker, were secondary in that scene in a way, and it was really nice to see that I definitely believed it in her eyes too.
Yeah. She's always had really expressive eyes, and yeah, it hasn't changed. She's grown, I think, more, like Cirroc said, in maturity and in being comfortable in herself and her own skin, and more so than when she was younger. And it shows and it shines through, I think.
Yeah. Riker was very comfortable in her own skin too.
Wow. Good in bed, bad at pizza.
Bad at pizza. Well, decent trade-off, I guess.
I like how she kind of throws it out there like she hooked up with the changeling, and then she's like, no, I
yeah. She's so rude. She's ruthless to that poor guy.
You can take it.
I mean, now that brings up a great question. Is it really technically cheating if the guy looks exactly like you?
No.
Was
I don't
fooling
think so.
you? I think
because she's not cheating.
No.
She's not
cheating.
She believes it's him.
Right.
She got cheated. She got misled, but she's not cheating as far as she, or maybe she knew because she could sense, but she's like, oh boy, I guess this is really you, Will. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that thing that you never want to do, but I always ask us to do, But yeah, no, I don't think it's cheating at all if she doesn't know.
No.
If she's fooled.
But she still covered it up and said, no, I didn't do it. Like she backed out of it.
She didn't either. I think she knew.
She's like, no, I knew it was that. I mean, but these are evolved changelings, so it'd be harder to sense. You remember we did see that scene with Tim Russ and 7 of 9 and the whole interaction and words between the two of them where it was chess. So it's possible if you have no heads up to look for it that you could be fooled. But
7 isn't an empath, and
she's a betazoid. Right.
Deanna Troi knows what Riker feels like emotionally and everything. So if it eyebrows.
We've been reduced to laughing at eyebrows, everybody.
Those eyebrows say a lot.
No, that's eyebrows. Don't say things.
They don't say anything.
But yeah, just to finish up on the two of them, I was very pleased. And this is going to sound almost condescending, but I don't mean it this way. But I was proud of Marina, and I'm proud of all of them because it's not easy to put away an acting career for several years, or maybe even for decades, or put away a character for several years or for decades, because acting, as anybody will tell you, it's a muscle, and you can't just not act for 20 years and then come right back at just the same way as, you think you can play basketball the same as you did 20 years ago until you get a basketball and you start playing people and you go, oh, I can't jump as high as I used to somehow, and it's the same kind of thing with acting. Like, it's a muscle. You need to practice it. You need to stretch it out. You need to warm it up. And I'm really proud of them for taking this seriously. And in a lot of cases, showing off their acting chops better than we've ever seen in previous iterations of Star Trek. So I was really happy with all of them, and today specifically with Marina. So big kudos to her for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of hers, and her talent and her ability to convey a story honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody is really just amazing in this show. I felt like Data stepped it up in his performance. I felt like this might have been one of the best Brent Spiner performances I've seen. I don't know about the other 6 seasons of Next Generation, but so far, this was an amazing performance by Brent Spiner in this, when he was going back and forth with himself and Moore. I thought that was some really emotional stuff that,
when he said goodbye, brother. Oh my gosh. I was like,
yeah. Best performance since Night Court.
I know.
It was the best.
Night Court.
It was great when he brings that cat up and he's stroking the cat.
God.
And he's like, "This is my cat," and he says, "Taught me how to love."
That was my favorite moment. Obviously, was the cat Spot. Yeah. Good old Spot. Which, by the way, one of the trivioids that didn't make the cutting room floor was that Spot is a he again, because throughout the Next Generation, Spot was a he. Spot was a male cat, very sweet, very cute, and they found a cat that looked exactly like him.
He's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest living cat. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
He's 48.
He's a really old cat.
But I actually looked closely. I was like, I wonder if it even looks like him. And I was like, wow, it really does. But the point is in other Next Generation episodes, Spot suddenly was a woman, a female cat. Because that's what the plot needed. I think it was in the episode Genesis, the 7th season episode Genesis. Spot suddenly, Nurse Ogawa or whatever is like, "Oh, Data, there's nothing wrong with Spot. She's pregnant." And we're like, "Wait, Spot was a boy cat for the longest time." But then when the plot needed a pregnant cat, suddenly Spot was a female cat, and then now Spot is back to male. So cat, whatever. Cats are. Who cares? Stop paying attention to whether a cat can have kittens or not. But anyway, so that was...
They actually, I heard they held auditions for the cat, and they called it a catting call.
Oh. Very nice.
I thought you were going to bring up the rat actor. I don't know. Anyway.
Anyway.
No, but I thought the moment was great. I thought Brent, acting against himself as Lore, playing both sides of the argument, and really delivering different perspectives of his self. And I felt like they were two different people, even though I know it's the same actor playing both of them. He projected each one of them with different personality traits, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I just feel like this whole episode is about relationships and just kind of revisiting and strengthening those old bonds and relationships. I felt like LeVar Burton did a great job with his kind of reaching out to Data, and I felt that he was, really connected to him as a buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a moment when Data finally arrives as me. I'm Data. The way Geordi looks at Data was just pure platinum.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so great. It's a great moment. There's great moments all the way through.
Yeah, I love those two. They were best friends all over again. And now Data is going to be a different kind of character. He's going to be a blend of Data and Lore and B4 and Dr. Soong. By the way, for non-appearance mentions, we had Kestra, non-appearance mention, not Thaddeus, because I don't think we've ever seen Thaddeus, but he was mentioned. And B4 was mentioned, and so was Dr. Soong. I didn't think there was a non-appearance mention for Lore, because we saw Lore. Lore is talking to Data, but but we didn't see the performance. We didn't see Brent Spiner performing B4 Dr. Soong. So I think those were the three non-appearance mentions. A lot of technicalities in this one: Kestra, B4, and Dr. Soong. Hey, let's take a break. We've earned it. We've been working so hard. We'll take a super quick break, everybody. We'll be back before you know it. But for an android, that is nearly an eternity. It's a First Contact quote from Data. We'll be right back on The Seventh Rule. Remember that one? No? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton and Malissa Longo.
Yeah.
And I'm Ryan T. Husk, and these are the trivioids that we may or may not have kept at the top of the show. Geordi unplugs lore. Riker has the face of an old man who can still take a punch. Deanna Troi teaches Riker how to say baby of immense size. Apparently, Riker is good in bed and bad at pizza. Vadic wants to take the captain's chair with her. Deanna Troi misses the city, and so does Riker. Geordi's taste in wine is pedestrian at best. Ouch. Data collects trinkets. Spot is back to being a he. Spot taught Data to love. Oh, that was nice. Poker buddies reunite. Beverly Crusher gives great advice when she's not around, and Worf considered sending the heads of slaughtered enemies to his pals. How cool was it that we saw the Magnificent Seven together again, all around that conference table? Man, yeah. I can only imagine, being part of the production team on set that day. We're like, this is it. This is the big day when the seven are all together on set at the same time, cracking jokes.
I felt like it was great. It was we finally got them all back together. And one thing I also noticed was how much I feel Rafi is a part of their crew now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I really feel her incorporation into the fold, as well as Seven of Nine. And, I just feel like they have a good team and they work together well. I like the chemistry between Worf and Rafi.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I think it's ridiculous, actually.
It's amazing.
When she's like, what? She's like, what? That's bullshit. He said something like, you have to strike harder. And she's like, what? That's bullshit. And he's like, you must snap at the wrist. And I was just, I was laughing because Worf is become the best comedian on the show.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
And when he said, one's personal space is a right.
Yes. I was like, thank you, Worf. You tell him.
That belongs on a t-shirt.
That does belong on a t-shirt.
We need to wear that at conventions.
It is a convention worthy t-shirt. But no, I thought he provided so much in character comedy relief.
Yeah.
When he went on that whole diatribe, like waves in the ocean, constant and unending.
Like hours through an hour, like sands through an hourglass.
I'm like, who is this guy? Since when did he become this hilarious? He is really, like all of them, have really set into their characters. I feel like, Riker knows that he's the charm guy. Data knows he's the humanistic robot guy. It's like they all have the, Counselor Troi is she's the emotional betazoid that's connected to people. Like they all have their superpower essentially. Worf kicks ass, and they've come in tune and really focused in on what their special abilities are and their qualities. And that's what I really enjoy about watching this. And also a lot of props to Matt Okamura, who wrote this episode, because he has a very good feel for the characters and the dialogue felt natural. The scenes really flowed well. And also Deborah, who directed it, did a great job as well. Now back-to-back directing a really great episodes. All of it comes together, though, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, but because Amanda Plummer is so spectacular at playing this villain, the way she smokes her little whatever she's smoking.
You see, Cirroc, that is called a blunt in the vernacular of the kids these days. You would never have heard of such a thing, but this is that's a blunt.
Yeah. I want to play a blunt smoking villain. That's the easy job. Then the way she just delivers her lines, sometimes she's singing them. when she sat in the captain's chair and she kind of sat in there and twirled around and she's cozy. I think I'm going to take this. She just, I've never heard anybody say it like that. Oh, this chair is comfortable. Like, I'm going to take this. It was just great. She's so comfortable in her own skin and she's like so at home with herself. Jack in the Box, pop, pop, pop. She just does all of this. Yeah. She just does
the weird thing is I feel like I've met people like her and they're weird and they kind of creep you out and you kind of don't really know what to do with them. And it's hard to portray that as an actor and still be menacing or still be, giving off the impression that this person is in charge, but she definitely does not take any lines off. Every single line is weird AF. Like I was saying before, like every line that she delivers is a roller coaster ride. The intonations up and down. There's stuttering. There's higher and lower volumes. There's singing. There, I don't know what's going on, but like I feel like I'm losing my mind watching
emotionally to tears, and she's definitely battling in her brain. I think as well. Look, that's what it seems to me, that Vadic is battling something up here, and I would have liked to see more of her and what that battle consisted of.
I don't think they're done with her. Even though they made it look like it, but
I thought the same thing. I think they are done with her. I think they are, but I thought the same thing, that it's not impossible for her to come back, because as a changeling, just because she's shattered, they could literally just scoop all that back up and put in the microwave, and she's back to a souffle or whatever. She could just we know changelings can come right back together, so her shattering doesn't mean anything. She needs to be vaporized.
And Laws was able to exist outside of a ship in the vacuum of space, so why couldn't Vadic?
Peanut Hamper too.
Well, she's a machine.
I don't think we've seen it. She's too good. Not to mention the kind of foreshadowing that was in this episode when she tells Jack, I can help you see what's behind the red door or whatever it was.
Right.
She basically is saying, I know what's on the other side of that door. And she knows. And I think I don't think they're done with her character. I did like the exit of her character, though. I thought it was fantastic the way she got shot out of the bridge and into the vacuum of space.
I was like, no, you can't be done with her yet. I was a little bit pissed off because because we can't be done with her yet. I'm not ready for her.
I don't want to see her go. I don't want. I think she has more to tell, more story to tell.
I'm not ready for her to go.
I feel like a lot of people were like, yes, finally, she's gone. She's dead. But not you guys, huh? You guys are like, you better not
dead.
Or Vadic, or we right.
They didn't tell us this, but when she cuts her arm off or whatever she does, and then her hand turns into something else, that thing, whatever that is, that thing didn't die because of what just happened at the end of this episode, in my opinion.
Well, I think that thing is not even on the ship. I think that thing is just kind of like telepathically communicating with her.
In similar way that maybe Jack's getting telepathically communicated with.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yes. And they may be related. Jack and the Vadic are related, possibly, to the same entity, whatever that is. But the way she sings her lines, Jack is just deep, deep down. The way she just says that stuff, she's so clever with her delivery. And I want to say, for the people who are aspiring actors, you don't have to be intimidating by being physical.
or loud,
or by screaming, or this is a very small, petite lady,
right?
But she's able to be intimidating because there is a craziness in her eyes.
Yeah.
It's the crazy in her eyes that makes you scared of what she can and might do. And to me, that's the same way, for example, Heath Ledger, when he was playing the Joker character. There's a level of crazy that you can get in your eyes. You don't have to be the biggest, built like The Rock or, John Cena or whatever to be an intimidating person. Actually, some of the most intimidating people are not the most physically big people. Some of them are just crazy looking people that you're like, dude, leave him alone.
Like Rue McClanahan.
Yes, like her, the Golden Girl.
What?
We know.
Yeah, but there's an unpredictability about her and people that can convey that kind of, which is really exciting to watch, in my opinion. And that's very exciting to watch, because you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. You don't know how they're going to react or who they're going to shoot.
Right. And we saw Jen Maley too in this episode.
Right.
She got a nice little feature.
They were amazing.
I wanted to give
a
nice shout out to our good buddy Jen Maley, who played and continues to play Ensign Kova Rin Esmar, Communications USS Titan. Jen was awesome. Got to see a lot of acting chops being shown off finally by the 8th episode. Also, Lieutenant Matthew Arliss Mora, tactical guy, got a little bit of something. But then, we lost Tavine, the Vulcan. And that made me, okay, this is where it gets a little zany. I was wondering, and I'm sure I'm wrong about this, if Kova Rin Esmar, played by Jen Maley, isn't some kind of changeling or some other kind of agent, because we saw Vadic was just about to pull the trigger, and then she turns and shoots the Vulcan. And when Deanna Troi walks on and she goes, "I sense great darkness here," or whatever, I thought, I wonder if there are more changelings. And I thought maybe Kova Rin Esmar is. Now, by the end of the episode, I already kind of thought that's probably not right, because I think she was sensing just whatever malevolent force is handling Jack. But just for that moment, I did think, I wonder why Vadic didn't kill her. Ensign Esmar. But anyway, that was just something there.
But I was blown away by Jen Maley, actually. And
me too.
They did an amazing job, of conveying empathy, and because that's what they told us in their interview for Virtual TrekCon, is that they were an empath, and
I had forgotten about the empathic abilities. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Jen.
Jen was fantastic in this episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody was great. I can't. I think Jack Crusher is a phenomenal actor. The guy who plays him, his name is Ethan something, right?
Ed Spaliers, I believe.
Ed Spaliers.
This guy's good. And I told him that when I got a chance to meet him at the premiere, but his face, he conveys conflict in his emotions very well, his face. So he seems conflicted. He seems like he's holding on to something and withdrawn, and he's very good at acting with his eyes and really delivering great close-ups. I think he's a fantastic actor. I really like.
There's a genuineness to his style of acting too that I enjoy seeing as well. I agree. I agree. He's doing a great job of knocking it out of the park, and being confused as to what's going on with him, and that struggle feels real to me personally.
Right. And Ashley Chestnut, I believe, is the name of the lady that plays Sydney LaForge. She's also doing great in her scenes against him. They do really well together. And a lot of people are clamoring to see more of them in future or subsequent series.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Ed Speleer auditioned for the part that Chris Pine played for as Pike. I mean, as Kirk.
Or the Dungeons and Dragons guy?
No, I can see him playing the same role that Chris Pine played.
It's an interesting point, yeah.
He's got the same facial expression kind of things where he does this really good acting. So it just puts him in a really high elite level class because Chris Pine is an amazing actor as well. But yeah, so much good stuff. I thought that when Geordi kind of sees Picard and they go through that back and forth about the wine, I love that moment.
I love that. That was so good.
Yeah.
So
he's like, yeah, definitely Picard.
That was great. When he says your taste in wine is pedestrian at best. Also, Riker to Raffi says, "You're scary." Just out of nowhere, he tells her, "You're scary." Yeah, there are a few moments that did make me laugh. I think we may have covered most of them.
Oh, well, one of my favorite ones, and I'll let you say it if you want to, but it was a Data line. Data's line. When he got on the PA system.
Off?
Yeah.
One pissed off.
He said, "This is your friendly
AI
positronic pissed off security system." I love
yes. I love that too.
He was like, "There's a new boss in town and I got control of this shit." This is your friendly positronic pissed off security system.
Aww.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how Data's a little bit different now that he's a combination of Data and lore. So that's fun. He's got a little bit of a personality now. He's got a little sass, got a little Data sass.
Yeah.
And is a jokester now.
Yeah. Speaking of jokesters, our good friend Don Crandall sent in a little bit of information about, and he tells great jokes. You haven't lived until you heard a Don Crandall knock joke. Boy, oh boy, treat yourself to that. But right now, he did send us in some interesting observations about Data. He says, Data lets slip a contraction before his scene with Geordi at the end. When he's battling, before that scene, when he's battling lore in the Mindscape, he says, "Curious, I'm finding it difficult to maintain focus." So that was an episode of, what was that, Next Generation? He says, "I'm." And
we saw that recently, where it was it was Data lore, and there was that's the way they distinguish between Data and lore, was the contractions.
Yes. But there have been a couple times where he's made the mistake. There's some slip-ups where he said, like, for example, Don Crandall and everybody at home, test your knowledge here. He named 3 first season Next Generation episodes in which Data used contractions as in slip-ups. So that'll be interesting. So everybody make your guesses. Give us 3 Next Generation episodes. Actually, give us 2. We'll give you 1. One is Data lore. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or if that's just the one that was written in on purpose. But there are 2 others in the first season of Next Generation. Also, Get Off My Bridge. Picard famously told Worf that in First Contact. That's like what Seven said. But I also feel like Janeway said that a few times. I felt like she would always go, she would say, "Get off my ship." That's what she would say, not bridge. And he says, Kirk said, "Get off my ship" in the original series, Day of the Dove. So that's really interesting. And so Picard and Kirk have said that. Just some interesting little tidbits from our good buddy and joke teller, Don Crandall.
Yeah. Can I share a theory that I shared with Ryan earlier? I think Jack might be and I could be way off base. I get it, because I've been wrong a lot this season. But Jack might be a Borg human hybrid of some sort, and that there's some residual locutus that was left in Picard's biological body, and that transferred over to Jack via, impregnation.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking earlier in the season, because the fact that they want Picard's body, and when he was Locutus, when he was taken over by the Borg, so he's maybe still has some nanoprobes or whatever in him, but also especially because he keeps hearing those voices. Okay, those voices, maybe that's the Great Link. I don't know. But us as Star Trek fans, when we know of people hearing voices in the hive mind, we think of the Borg. Maybe that's a Borg queen talking to him. Maybe, I'm not sure if I still think that now later on. But it's still totally in play and totally possible, because that was my first thinking of why would they want Picard's body? Because he's the one person. But now actually 7 of 9 has also come back from the Borg, so now they have a second person.
Right. Well, and then Vadic tells 7 when she stays behind, how fitting you stay behind to witness this. Meaning she's the only other part Borg
Very good,
could be on the ship. So how fitting that you stay and witness this. And I was like,
I didn't catch
oh
that.
my gosh. Okay, so this might have traction, this theory.
I think it's entirely possible, and we've been kind of keeping our eye on that. Plus, we know that they do like the Borg. We had the Borg definitely played a major part in the second season, so there's certainly something there.
But do the Borg, are they known for having the ability to inhabit somebody's mind, like telepathically, the way Jack is doing?
Only other Borg.
But now that he's a hybrid, he could extend that on to other organic beings. Yeah. Kind of like Deanna Troi, in a way.
Maybe every single little, to keep it PG, every bit of Picard that is transferred into Beverly maybe has some nanoprobes in it.
Right.
And that's why...
different kind of nanoprobe.
Vadic did say... Vadic, when was talking about Jack, said something that was... it's slipping my nanoprobes. But we did forget to mention that Tasha Yar was in this episode. I want to make sure.
Yes. So cool. For a split second only, but it was her. And that was really cool. And Denise Crosby is expecting gigantic avalanches of money coming her way for that. So hopefully that'll work out well. But yeah, that was so cool to see her, wasn't it? Even just for that little moment.
Yeah. Data's still holding on to that moment.
I know.
That moment.
I loved that.
Yeah. He's got that memory in a hologram form.
Yep. Yep. Those lonely nights. It would have been funny though if he goes, oh, look, here's, Tasha Yar, and Laura goes, ooh, and he's like, no. This one's mine.
No. You get your own.
You can hang out with the cat and the Sherlock Holmes hat, but Tasha's mine. You back off.
Oh, that's funny.
Cool to see her.
That was good to see her. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's an appearance mention.
It was. Well, it's an appearance non-mention, right?
Right. They didn't say her name. They just
they didn't mention her name,
on the holo image. And then, but
but it was still good to see her, and it just obviously reminds us of the connection that they have. Also, it technically solidifies that all of the cast members were in this episode.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right, except for
Pulaski.
Well, I was going to say, except for
O'Brien?
Wesley Crusher.
Wesley
Crusher.
Oh,
yeah, O'Brien too. That's true. But they've
Wesley
all been in there. So, hey, we have 2 more episodes, and I'm still holding on to hope that we're going to see O'Brien. I think O'Brien's going to he's going to call in, at the very end, when they win the day and everybody's happy and they're no longer being attacked, and they're going to go, dock on Earth, is he's going to say, Chief Miles O'Brien giving you ready, saying you're ready for clearance, or whatever the hell they say, something like that. And he's going to pop in, and Worf's going to say, "It is good to see you, Chief." And Picard's going to say, "It is good to see you, Chief O'Brien," or, and we'll all be so happy, and it'll end, and we'll be like, "We did it, everybody." Yeah. That's what I'm holding on to. I'm hoping.
Well, I'm holding on to maybe Wesley is on the other side of that red door.
Well, that would.
He's always,
I think it's going to be a Borg queen.
Saving the day. Maybe he could not save the day for what? Destroy the day.
Maybe they could save him.
Destroy the day.
Wesley destroyed the day. Finally, he went evil.
He's growing up.
Universe Wesley.
We'll find out next week, right? When they open the door, it might be the Borg Queen. It might be like the Great Link has gone red. It might be something that we just don't. It could be Agnes Girardi as evil Borg Queen.
Yeah. I've read some theories that say it's Gul Dukat and the Pa-Wraiths.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing I was thinking, is that it's the Pa-Wraiths. I don't think Gul Dukat is going to be in this, but I do think it's very possible that it's the Pa-Wraiths, because we know that their eyes turn red, as Cirroc very well knows, because he had to wear those uncomfortable contact lenses, I'm sure, to get those red eyes. That's the only reason your eyes were red, is because of those contacts. So yeah, it could. Because remember, we were talking about that a few weeks ago, that in order, look, if it's the Dominion, right? And these are like changelings, and, an episode is specifically called Dominion, and they're still mad at the Federation. They're still holding on to these grudges. That's why I'm hoping that those bad guy aliens that we still haven't seen, and I'm getting a little annoyed. I keep hoping it's the Breen. I keep hoping it's the Breen, but then if we have the changelings, we have the Breen. All we need left is the Founders, or the
Cardassian.
Well, the Pa-Wraiths, the Pa-Wraiths, right? And they've got the red eyes. I feel there's got to be something there.
I guess so. I mean,
and yes, Jeff Combs can play them all.
The Pa-Wraiths weren't part of the Dominion, though. Not really.
But that's true. But they could still, I still feel like they could be part of this storyline, like the Founders and the Pa-Wraiths coming together to defeat the Federation.
And I think there still needs to be some distinguishing between the Founders and this rogue faction of changelings, because I sometimes I feel like it gets a little bit muddled, that they're being clumped in with the Great Link, because Jack mentioned the Great Link in this, and I was like, no, this is a rogue faction. We established this already. So even if they wouldn't take you back to the Great Link, because Odo's there, and we've already established he's an honorable man. So we can't villainize changelings as a whole. Just this rogue faction is the enemy, not the Great Link.
Right.
It's a good point.
And who else are they working with? We don't know either.
Exactly.
Or it could just be something totally different. Man, I'll be so sad if we don't find out what those aliens are. Those tall Breen guys. I'll be like, you better tell us, because I've been holding on to hope that it's the Breen for the longest time. And if we never find out, even if I find out I'm wrong, I don't care. I just need to know at this point.
Right.
I'll be so sad.
I don't know. They've been really good about closing out storylines and kind of not leaving something up in the air and not really going to revisiting it. They close things out, so I'm pretty sure they're going to give us a nice bow in the last 2 episodes of what this whole season's about. Which, by the way, is starting to look like the best season of Star Trek in the new iteration of Star Trek. It's starting to look like the best single season.
Which is the worst? No, it does.
no, but
there
so
are
far,
no worse.
This season of Picard has been extremely enjoyable, and it's been my favorite probably season of Star Trek since the new iterations of Star Trek come on. I do like Strange New Worlds. I don't have any less like for it, except that this season of Picard has really checked off all the boxes for me on what I like about Star Trek, and the continued storylines are really believable. The villains are great, and the getting back together of the gang is also fun to watch. So this has been enjoyable.
By the way, everybody, Strange New Worlds, June 15th, if I remember correctly. So stay tuned for that. That's just a little more than 2 months away. Can't wait for it. Strange New Worlds. But yeah, this has been awesome. We have 2 episodes left, and they got a lot of explaining to do. They got a lot of explanations to give us in the last couple episodes. So we'll see what happens. Everybody at home, let us know. Do you think we've seen the end of Vadic? Do you think Vadic is coming back? Do you think she's going to come back together? Do you think that's the Breen under those masks? Do you think that maybe the Borg are in some way a part of this? Do you think that's like the Borg Queen behind the door? Do you think the Pa Wraiths are somehow? Do you think they dragged Mark Alimo out of retirement and said, "You're playing Cul Dukat one more time"? That would be insane. I would be shocked.
That would be awesome.
I don't think so, but I would be
maybe it's
pleasantly
the Terminator.
I have another.
We should have terminated this.
I'm thinking. I'm also going to add something crazy, but I'm going to add that possibly Picard is not the father of Jack Crusher.
Ooh,
possible.
And with all the changelings involved, I don't trust anybody who might have had a relationship with somebody. It could be that he is not half Picard's kid, and that he's actually something else. That's why he's going through these.
What if
things?
It was a changeling that impregnated Beverly Crusher?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's that's possible.
Is it? Is it possible though?
For all we know.
Unless because it seems that their physiology change is fairly recent. And
yeah, when did they say that they did that? It was pretty recent.
Yeah, and it's not all of them, and it was pretty clear in Deep Space Nine that Odo couldn't impregnate Kira. They would never be able to have children, and so they can't reproduce with solids unless this new physiology allows them to reproduce with solids. But that feels like more recent than when Jack was born.
That's true. When did they say when that was? That whole doctor scene where they revolted against the doctors? But it's probably more recent than 20 years. That's true. But I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait, everybody. So let us know your theories. Do you think that it was an immaculate conception? Do you think it was a changeling? Do you think it was a Pa Wraith? Whoa, what if it was a Pa Wraith that did it?
Oh, well, that was possible.
A Pa Wraith that was inside of a changeling and then inside of Beverly, and then they made a baby.
Well, let's not include the changeling because they can't, without the physiological changes, they couldn't impregnate Beverly.
My head's in knots right now. All right. Let's.
But the Pa Wraith could impregnate Beverly because Sisko was part prophet. So, and they're essentially the same sort of species, the prophets and the Pa Wraiths. So,
Sisko was a real person that impregnated someone, right? Oh, you mean when he was born? Yeah, that's right.
Sarah, his mom.
Sarah was inhabited by a prophet, which
absolutely right. Yeah,
right.
So if the Pa race can do what the prophets can do, what the wormhole aliens can do, then they can do that.
Right.
So it's possible. All right, everybody. Hopefully your heads are in knots like ours right now. Your heads are knotty. Here they come, fast and furious, the people that we would like to thank, and they are named Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan, our pal Titus Mohler, Darlena Marie, Dr. Muhammad Noor, Tierney C. Diekman, Anna Post, Anil O. Palat, Joe Balsarati, Mike Gu, DQ, Neil Akasaka, Justine Norton Kurtzen, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, my live from Tokyo, the Matt Boardman, Chris McGee, Justin Weir, Jake Barrett, Jane Jorgensen, Henry Unger, Allison Leach Hyde, Jed Thompson, and Steve Case, aka wait for it, Joe Bugbuster. Everybody go check him out. Joe Bugbuster. And of course, our pals, Dr. Susan V. Gruner and Jason Okun. All right. Melissa's still thinking about what the heck does Joe Bugbuster mean? We'll see, but that's what it is.
Stay tuned.
We actually met Steve Case a while back. We'll talk about it a little later. But thank you all very much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, and we can't wait to talk about it more next week and the week after, and then we'll cry that it's over. Or as Dr. Seuss says, don't cry that it's over, be glad that it happened, or something like that. Something like that, right? Yeah. Don't cry that it ended, be happy that it happened, or something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
I like that.
All right. We'll see you next time, everybody. And until then, always remember the 7th rule.